Welcome to the Huntsman World Senior Games Active Life. My name is Kyle Case, and I'll be your host on this amazing journey as we attempt to help you get the most out of your life. Today's guest is Madonna Boclair Hanna, a sprinter proving that speed has no expiration date. Over the past 15 years, she's competed in 9 Washington State Senior Games and set a women's 70 to 74 50-meter state record in 2024, which was a mark that had stood for 15 years. She's competed in 5 National Senior Games, winning her first national gold in the 4x100-meter relay at age 70, and this year marks her second at the Huntsman World Senior Games, the Senior World Championships. Her journey to the track began at age 57. She has earned national attention through the Ethel newsletter and appearances on the Today Show. She is known in running circles as the Fast Fashionista. After a devastating Achilles rupture at 61 and the loss of her husband and first coach, she defied the odds, returning to competition at 64 and continues to train with former Olympic trials hopeful Marcus Chambers. When not on the track, Madonna is an actress, a motivational speaker, collaborator with Girls on the Run, West Sound, retired award-winning educator, and most recently chosen as a model for the Paula's Choice skincare campaign at age 72. Madonna, welcome to the show.
Oh, wow. What a wonderful introduction. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kyle. I'm so glad to be here today.
And I am so glad to introduce you. And I'm just stating the facts. I'm just stating the facts. So congratulations to you. What an amazing athletic career and many other things, education, spokesmodel, so many great things. I hope we're going to get a chance to touch on all of them. We're going to dig into as many as we possibly can. But Madonna, I want to start off with the sprinting. You say that you didn't really start sprinting as a track and field, as a senior athlete. You didn't even begin sprinting until age 57. What was it that kind of pushed you over the edge and made you say, you know what, it's not too late. I'm going to jump in and do this thing.
Kyle, that's a very interesting question. A still, quiet voice said, run 100 meters. Now, I was teaching at the time and getting ready to plan for the spring fashion show. And I thought, what's this? That tape played in my head for 3 days straight. Run 100 meters. Run 100 meters. I had no track experience. But luckily, I was married to my late husband, who was a sprinter in high school, college, and a track coach at one time before he retired from teaching. So I said, I want to run 100 meters. And I said, will you coach me? And he said, sure, but you have to do what I say. And I said, of course.
One of the few times when he was able to sneak that in there, I'm sure, in your relationship.
Yes. And he was old school, and I only bring that up because, a little bit later, I'm going to have a real new school coach. But anyway, I did listen to what he said, and I competed in the 2011 Washington State Senior Games. I won the 50 meters. I won the 100 meters, and my opponents were all saying, you got to come back to qualify to compete for the National Senior Games. I'm like, what the heck's that? I'm just, thought I was doing this on a whim. And then I did compete in the 2013 National Senior Games in Cleveland and have been hooked ever since.
So you really jumped into senior athletics, specifically track and field, with both feet.
Both feet running fast. Yeah.
So I'm curious. I want to talk a little bit. I want to dig just a little bit into the husband coach scenario.
Of course.
You talk about him being a little bit old school. Tell us what an average practice looked like with your late husband.
I had a backpack filled with bricks, about 5 pounds bricks, and 3-pound ankle weights. And I walked up hills, down hills, jogged up and down hills, and also jogged and raced around a local college track. And that's what it was basically. And I did exercises, I did push-ups, I did whatever he told me to do. So when I say old school, the backpack full of bricks and the ankle weights.
Well, it sounds like he was able to really help in the strength scenario, obviously, as you're walking around and jogging around with extra weight. And then that really, it seems to me like it made a big difference in your sprinting speed.
Oh, yes. And also, once he retired from education, he became a massage therapist. So that helped too. But you know, with his experience, and like I said, he'd been a track coach. All I had to do was just do what he told me to do. And obviously I had the seed of speed in me. And there we go. There we go.
Yeah. So he would break those muscles down and build up the lactic acid and put you through the ringer, but then he would help massage it out afterwards.
Yeah. What a great combination.
Sounds like a winning combination to me for sure.
Yes.
And, again, congratulations on all of your success there. We're going to get into a little bit more racing, but before we do that, I want to talk about the idea of this Achilles rupture. You're in it. You are kind of new to the scene, but you're loving it. You fully embraced it. You, as you said, you jumped in with both feet running fast. And then all of a sudden, bam, a pretty significant injury comes along. Tell us about what happened and how that felt as you're kind of, trying to do some pretty cool things.
Yes. The National Senior Games experience in 2013 was so exciting. So 2014, Washington State Senior Games, I want to go back to nationals. It's the 50-meter race. And Kyle, I'm telling you, I'm out there. Somebody's coming up on my right. I throw it into another gear. And I heard what I thought was the starting gun going off again. I said, that can't be. We're already on the track. And then everything went dark. I had fainted over the finish line in second place. Oh. And of course, what I thought was another starting gun was my Achilles. It was like everybody heard it. And the next thing I know, like I said, everything went dark. And then I opened my eyes and looking at the sky, and they, and the great crew that they had out there said, Madonna, you're not racing anymore today. Yeah. They had this huge ice pack. And they said, you're going to lay here for 20 minutes. And then, you're going to need to go to the emergency room in Tacoma General. So, like I said, I was 61 at the time. And my surgeon, eventually said that because of my age, 61, and the severity of the rupture, that I would not be able to sprint again.
Now that had to have been kind of devastating news.
Kyle, honestly, to me, it wasn't. There was something in me that said, this isn't over. This is not over. I am going to sprint again. Now, for those of you who are listening, who have had an Achilles thing, when you go through the pain, the surgery, and then eventually the rehab, it's grueling, it's painful, but I just knew in my being that I was going to get out there again. So, as you mentioned in the intro, the accident had happened in 2014. And then in 2017, I said, I want to try. Told Laz, I want to try again. And, after walking laps around a local track, adding another lap each day, he said, I want to try. I want to go for it. And in 2017, Washington State Senior Games again, won gold in the 50 and the 100.
Wow.
Sometimes you just have this thing in you. And I remembered that still quiet voice that said, run 100 meters, run 100 meters, and now I've got this testimony, to share with people and people who have ruptured their Achilles have reached out to me and said, well, I didn't know you could still be active.
Yeah.
I've been sitting here, whether it's male or female. And in fact, Kyle, this is just real fresh. A woman reached out to me and said that she had ruptured both of her Achilles.
Wow.
And she had been a sprinter, and she came across, one of the many stories about me online. And she reached out to me and she asked for advice. And then a little while ago, a couple of days ago, she thanked me for the advice, and she's following up on it. And so, see, you never know.
Yeah. And it is fun to know and to see the circle of influence that you can have and the positive impact that you can have on people. But let me once again congratulate you on an amazing comeback. What a great story. I'm so glad that you were able to go through the rehab. And it is a process. It is not something that happens overnight, and it doesn't happen over a week. It takes time. But here you are back at it, having success. I want to shift gears just a little bit if we can. Get a little bit somber. You've talked about the importance of the role that your husband played, your late husband, former coach played, and the formative time that you spent together in getting into senior sports, sprinting, track and field, all the success that you had together. You lost him. Did the grief come into play as far as, was it a motivator? I want to do this for him. Or was there a moment when you thought, you know what, maybe it's time. He's not here with me anymore. Maybe it's time to change directions. How did that go for you when you lost your husband?
Okay. The 2017, the return. And that was my husband's first bout with cancer. He had 3.
Okay.
And we were going for me competing in the national games, the 2019 national games in Albuquerque, New Mexico. November 2018 was his 3rd and final bout with cancer. And he said that I should continue to run.
Yeah.
And to wear red, white, and blue when I got to Albuquerque, because he liked wearing red, white, and blue at the meet.
Yeah.
And, he said that was his final request. And in order to do that, I needed someone, I needed another coach to at least have their eyes on me, to tweak me, not to be there necessarily every day, but to tweak me.
Right.
And an acquaintance that I had met while I was rehabbing, because you meet people while you're rehabbing,
Yes, you do.
A woman who was introduced to me at the time as a coach, Martha Mendenhall. I didn't know that she was this big, world champion and national champion. She was just introduced as a coach at that time. So I reached out to her. She wanted to help me, but she had some other things going. And then she said, I know someone, which was Marcus Chambers, who at the time was an Olympic trial hopeful. And he would be able to coach me 1 hour, 1 day a week, kind of a one and done thing. It's like, can you help this widow out?
Right.
Yes. And obviously that one and done has now turned into 7 years. So the way I like to look at it is that my husband set the foundation, and then the baton was passed to Marcus to go ahead and build, the rest of the house to go.
I love the imagery there. And so often we find that opportunity, whether we're passing the baton, whether we're receiving the baton, whether we're, watching it take place. So often in our lives, we get that opportunity to continue to do the thing that we want through the influence of another person. They build on the foundation that was set, and then we just go up from there. I want to talk about your nickname, the Fast Fashionista. Where did it come from?
Well, I'm happy to share the first article that I wrote for the Ethel and AARP online newsletter caught the attention of a producer at the Today Show who reached out to me on Instagram. And when you watch the feature, it starts off talking about my career in the fashion industry. And then I went on to teach. And, this new act, this fashionista has got a new act. And then it became the Fast Fashionista.
I love that. I think it's definitely a tip of the hat to every aspect of your life. The fashion aspect of it, as well as the track and field and the senior sports and the sprinting aspect of it as well. So that's a lot of fun. You just recently been named one of the spokespeople for a global brand. Tell us a little bit about how that came about.
Once again, they found me on Instagram. They were the campaign, first of all, is cutting edge. They wanted to show the vitality, the vibrancy, and the vivaciousness of 4 female senior athletes, ranging from 100. There was 100, 75, me being 72, and the other one being 68. So that was brave and, cutting edge there. And they found me online. They had looked at the various interviews that I had done and the videos that are out there, like the Today Show and the Growing Bolder. And I did one for the Y. And they mentioned all of those, and they mentioned what they liked about each one of, what they saw, obviously. And I want to let you and the viewers know that, gosh, absolutely anything is possible. When that little voice said run 100 meters, I did not know that I would be selected, to be in this global social media campaign that has many facets to it. But one facet was, yes, let's get some senior women in here. And then as the little commercials have come out, the posting online has been really, really positive, because so many women have said, well, finally, they've got some authentic women. Somebody 20, sure, they got this fabulous skin, but to see someone who's 175 or 72 promoting, a vital and healthy lifestyle, because the theme was the long game, showing that, what you do now. Because I think in my post, I said, you need to invest in yourself now for the future, because you do it with money, but you have to do it with your health, and you've got to stay active. And having a marketing background myself, I like hearing some of the posts say, Well, I want to know her. I want to be here. I want to hang out with these women. Which is, yep, you've hit the mark, when you hear comments like that. And it was just an incredible experience. Plus, I was the only one out who was selected from outside of New York, because the other three models were in New York. And so they flew me and a friend to New York City. And I hadn't been there for a while, because I did work there a little bit in the fashion industry. And so it was great to be back in the Big Apple and to be part of this incredible, incredible experience.
What an amazing opportunity. And you talked about it being cutting edge. And I know that is true, but it shouldn't be. And I'm so glad that you and these other women are breaking down the barriers and showing that, hey, there's a lot of life that can still be lived and shared in our golden age, golden years, our golden age. And congratulations on that. We've got about a couple of minutes, minute and a half, 2 minutes left. I want to talk a little bit about the Huntsman World Senior Games. You've competed at the games. Do you have a favorite moment that stands out at the games here in St. George, Utah?
I have three. First, being greeted by royalty. The ladies, yes. And everyone was so professional and upbeat and enthusiastic. And I injured my knee the day before my competition. And the first aid people were wonderful. The therapists that you have who, did the compression wrap for me each day. It was like, okay, this is this. It was just such an incredible experience. And I did win 2 gold. My first time out, I won 2 gold with a compression wrap, and so it was just an incredible experience. And I'm already registered for.
I was gonna mention that I did notice that. I know that you've been once before. I noticed already that you've registered for this year, and we're very excited to have you come back, and hopefully without the compression wrap.
Yeah, hopefully I won't need one.
So during the Huntsman World Senior Games, obviously there's the track and field event that is the focus of your activity there. We've only got about 30 seconds left. Was there anything that you did outside of the games that stands out? Maybe seeing some of the sites, the opening ceremonies, anything like that stands out?
I wasn't able to, because I was nursing. I was nursing the knee, but there were some things I really wanted to go to, but I had to nurse that knee. Yes.
We're glad that you're coming back so that you can get out and see some of the sites and take advantage of everything that we have to offer here. Madonna, once again, I've said it before. Let me just say congratulations on an incredible athletic career, on a wonderful life. We anticipate that you're going to have a lot of good things that continue to come your way, as long as you keep listening to that little voice, that little intuition that tells you to do the thing that seems like just a crazy idea at the time. But with your courage, you step forward and you do it. And I know that you're going to have a lot of good things coming your way. So congratulations, best of luck, and thank you so much for joining us today.
I appreciate it. And I'm going to be looking forward to seeing you in person, Kyle.
I will make sure that it happens. I'll be out at the track and we'll get a chance to say hi.
Okay, thank you.
Just really quickly to wrap us up here, I want to remind everybody that registration is indeed open for the Huntsman World Senior Games. And in fact, we're only just a few weeks into registration, but we've already blown past 3,500 registered athletes and official fans. Don't wait. Now is the time to secure your spot at the Huntsman World Senior Games. You can do that, as well as find all the information that you need to know, the dates, the venues, the rules. Everything is at seniorgames.net. The games this year run from October 5th through the 17th of 2026. So put that on your calendar and then plan to be a part of the games, just like Madonna this year. Next week's guest is Carolyn Zalmir, a nationally recognized nurse practitioner with more than 30 years of experience in women's health and hormone optimization. She's a graduate of Florida International University and author of Are You Hormone Curious? She is passionate about empowering men and women to take charge of their aging journey with clarity and confidence. Check that out next week. Remember to tune in live next and every week at every Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time on AM 1450 or FM 93.1 for the Huntsman World Senior Games Active Life. We take this live show and turn it into a podcast, and you can find it wherever you find your favorite podcast. If you're watching or listening by podcast, please take a moment and give us a rating, a thumbs up, write a quick review that can help us spread the word. You can also find this and previous shows on our website. Once again, that is seniorgames.net. Today's inspirational thought comes from Florence Nightingale, who once said, "I attribute my success to this. I never gave or took an excuse." Until next Thursday, stay active.